Okay, so let's talk about all the books I said I was going to read in June. And as you can see, it was a bit ambitious, but I got through all of them.
You sit on a throne of lies.
Okay, no, I did it. But let's talk about it. I'm Eric, this is Blessed and Bookmarked, and here we love to talk about books. Welcome, or welcome back. The only book in this stack that I did not read was Crime and Punishment by Fyodor Dostoevsky, and I wanted to read this book, but I just didn't have the time or the bandwidth, so I swapped it out for this one, The Lord's Supper by Jonathan Black. So this I did read, with the exception of the Iliad, which I'm about halfway through. So not too bad. I'm actually quite impressed that I got through all of these books. So all in all, I think I did pretty good. So here are my quick thoughts. The Crown of Swords by Robert Jordan. This novel is shorter than the other ones in the series, as you can see right here, but short is still a relatively loose term. It's still 650 pages for a high fantasy novel. It's not an easy read, but I did expect it to move a little bit quicker because it was a shorter novel, but it didn't. It still kind of dragged along at some points. I'm still locked in for the characters and for the story and to see how it ends. And while the characters make rather questionable choices at times, I still find the story compelling overall. But these books are like chess. Robert Jordan is making methodical, slow, careful moves into these big finishes at the end. And while there are meaningful, exciting moments throughout the novel, they don't feel as big as maybe they could. At this point, I'm really pushing through it out of commitment and not because these books are like page turners. Book number 2 is Truth We Can Touch by Tim Chester, and this book is phenomenal. A really amazing read, truly an eye-opener, and I recommend this little book to anybody who is interested in learning more about the Lord's Supper or communion or the Eucharist or whatever you want to call it. Like I said in like I discussed in the video at the beginning of the month, this book is so good. I highlighted so many things. There were so many insights, so many points that I had not seen from specific angles, that I think this book really kind of opened my eyes and my mind to different aspects of the Eucharist or the communion or the Lord's Supper that I had never really thought of before. So I am going to do an in-depth review of this book alongside this book, The Lord's Supper by Jonathan Black. This was the one that I swapped in instead of Crime and Punishment, and it is also a very, very good book. They each have their own specific focuses and go about making their points different ways. I specifically found Jonathan Black's book interesting because he is a charismatic Pentecostal. That's very evident in this book, and typically you don't think of charismatics and an emphasis on the sacraments going hand in hand, so it's really interesting to see that perspective as well. Book 3, Lectures to My Students by Charles Spurgeon. I did it, guys. I finally gave Spurgeon the respect he deserved after this book sat on my nightstand for months, just completely fallen by the wayside. I finished whatever was remaining, it was about half the book, in one day at the beach. Just the fact that I'm reading. Now, I know that a 150-year-old book about preaching isn't exactly beach reading material, but I will say that Spurgeon, while being super insightful, is also super hilarious. There were so many moments that I was reading things that he said and I just laughed out loud. Like, he is a bold man and he does not hold back any punches. I'm not sure that this book is going to get a full review because there's just so much to talk about, but I did learn a lot and I did laugh a lot. Iron Gold by Pierce Brown. This is the 4th book in the Red Rising series, and it is the first book of the 2nd trilogy. I previously did a reflection from a Christian perspective on books 1 to 3 on my channel, but while those books were dark and violent, this book is even more intense. No. I'm telling you right now, this book is not for everyone. There are tons of content warnings that you should look up if you're thinking about reading it, and it is just so grim. By the end of this first book, everything is literally falling apart. People who you thought were going to be friends forever are just split apart. Everything is a mess. And as a Christian who is reading a book that is very much so not a Christian book, I think it's important to use them as opportunities to look at things like our fallen human nature and the call that scripture has for us to live a different life. In these types of books, I see the brokenness of the world caused by sin, and I'm reminded that the only real possibility for redemption and a positive change is in Jesus Christ. Not in our own actions, not in our own efforts. Those things only lead to more destruction. Have you read the series? Let me know what you think in the comment section below.
Do it.
And speaking of dark books, let's talk about Dracula.
Dracula?
This book is also going to get a full in-depth review because the Christian themes in this book literally were jumping off the page. I hadn't read this book since graduate school, and I did so through a literary lens, so I was really just focused on those kind of things. But going back and reading it from a Christian perspective, there's just so much to talk about. I think this book offers a really good opportunity to discuss how we can overcome evil, especially when that evil resides within us. Now, as for the Iliad, I'm going to leave this for my wrap-up video because I'm only about halfway through, but this book definitely lives up to its genre of epic literature because, man, it is not an easy read, and just keeping track of all the characters is where most of the work comes in because there are so many characters, and some of them are throwaway characters. Like Homer will give you this whole stanza about the backstory of this one character and then just kill him off. But there's a reason why this remains one of the greatest poems in Western literature. Have you read or wanted to read any of the books that I've discussed so far? Let me know your thoughts down below. Now on to the books I'm going to read in July. There are two books that I am definitely going to read in the month of July. The first one is the sequel to the Iliad, the Odyssey, which hasn't come in yet. The reason why I want to read this book is that the Odyssey film by Christopher Nolan is coming out, and despite it being controversial for some people, I'm interested in watching it. I teach the Odyssey every year in my high school English class, and while that's an abridged version, I do want to revisit the full text. So that's one thing that I want to read after I finish the Iliad. And the second thing that I'm definitely going to read in July is the fifth book in the Red Rising trilogy, Dark Age. Now, this title is not giving me any kind of hope that things are going to get any better. It sounds like it's going to get even worse, and it is a chonker of a book, so it's going to take up some time, although they're not hard reads. I want to add 3 more books to my pile of possibilities, but I want to do something a little bit different. I was watching a fellow Christian YouTuber and I saw a really interesting idea. Her channel is called A Book Nook, and she was using a tool that helps you randomize your TBR with prompts, and the best part is that it's Lord of the Rings themed.
My precious.
If you've been on my channel for any amount of time, you know I love the Lord of the Rings. In fact, I have Gimli's axe here and the map right there. So I'm really excited to use this tool. I would just want to thank Isabella for introducing me to this tool, and I'm really excited to share it with you guys. So let's take a look. So this is the Lord of the Reads, the 2 libraries. So I love it already. Basically what you do is you hit start here, and you gotta pick one of the members of the fellowship that is going to join you. So my favorite members are Gimli, Sam, and Boromir, but I'm not gonna pick, although you can pick who goes with you. I'm gonna let it randomly pick one character, and it's Boromir. All right, so maybe there is a chance of redemption after all for Boromir. Okay, so once we pick Boromir, we move on to the map. Essentially what you do here is you can go as far as you want, all the way down. I'm just gonna pick 3 books. So you roll the dice. Sometimes it gets a little glitchy with that roll. All right. So I don't know why it cut off there, but you can see that it's a 6. There you go. All right, so it's a 6. So we're gonna move 6 spaces, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, and so I fell on a TBR jar that will decide my fate. So here's the thing. I don't have a TBR jar, but I do have a Google spreadsheet, a Google sheet that has all my books on it. So here it is. These numbers are not entirely correct. I'm still working it out, but I do have several libraries here at the bottom. I have my physical books, I have my Kindle books, I have a list of books that are only in Spanish, and then I have books from my Logos library, tons of books in there. So what I'm going to do is first I'm going to pick which library I'm going to pick from, either Logos, Kindle, physical, or Spanish. So let's see what it comes out to. All right, so that brings it down quite a bit. I'm going to pick a physical book, and in my physical book library, I have 30 books here, probably more, but I'm just going to use that. So I'm going to pick a number between 1 and 30, and let's see what number that is. Hopefully I haven't read it. If not, I'll just pick the next one on the list. So number 23. So in my library, down to number 23, Truth We Can Touch is the book I read last month. So I'm just going to go down one to the New Testament documents. Are they reliable? All right. Sorry, I didn't realize this was so cropped. I was so excited. But this is the New Testament documents. Are they reliable? By F.F. Bruce. F.F. Bruce is a leading scholar in Christian circles, and I'm really excited to read this book. In fact, it was on my TBR for the whole year, so this definitely it's killing two birds with one stone. And it's a short book. Doesn't seem like it's too involved, but hopefully it helps to equip me to be able to answer questions that people might have, because this is something that people love to push against. All right, so let's pick book 2 out of 3. We're gonna roll the dice again. All right, 2 spaces. 1, 2. And now we're gonna get a prompt card. And the prompt card is Celebrimbor telling me to read a science fiction book. Now this counts as a science fiction, but I think I'm gonna pick another one as well. Give me 1 second. So I said I wanted to read more Shakespeare, and while this is technically not Shakespeare, it is Star Wars as told in the style of Shakespeare. And it's sci-fi, and I love Star Wars, so I think it's going to count, and I'm going to add it to my July TBR.
Force is strong in my family.
We have one more book to read, so let's see what the Lord of the Reads has for me. Last one is a single one. I'm going to land on this, and I must go back and pull a different card, and this one is the Undying Lands, which is to read a book from a long series, 10 plus books. That is perfect because it allows me to continue to read the Robert Jordan series, The Wheel of Time, that has 14 books in it. So I will be reading the next book in that series, which is The Path of Daggers. So the saga continues. So I have my 5 books that I'm going to read. I'm going to finish the Iliad, read the Odyssey, read the New Testament documents by F.F. Bruce, read Star Wars by William Shakespeare, and The Path of Daggers by Robert Jordan. If you've read any of these or find any of them interesting, let me know in the comments down below. I know this was a long video, but thank you for sticking around. Like I said, my name is Eric. This is Blessed and Bookmarked. We love to talk about books. We love to have community, so I want to hear from you guys. Please let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Make sure you like this video. Simple thing like that will help this channel get pushed out to more people so that we can talk more about books and God and how they're all connected. If you're interested in buying any of these books, I'll leave affiliate links down in the description below that you can use to check them out. Thanks for watching. Stay blessed. Stay bookmarked.